Africa is home to a wide variety of animals. Unfortunately, many of them are either endangered or at risk of becoming endangered because of habitat loss due to the growing human population, the demand for land, food, and water. Some of the endangered animals also include black rhino, gorilla, and the addax, which is known as the white antelope. While some types of pangolin are critically endangered, the 4 types in Africa are considered vulnerable. Let's take a moment and get started on making some of this beautiful endangered African animal. As you get started on your background, look at the color complementary choices that are available. Colors that are most vibrant or opposite sides of the color wheel. Those are the colors that I'd like you to choose. You'll notice that I chose green for my background because I was thinking I would use red for my animal. It does not matter what color you choose for your animal, but it does matter that your background and animal become complementary. The first thing I want you to do is grab some white paper and make some white triangles with it. Once you've made your white triangles, please glue those down, put your name on the back, and then, using a white oil pastel, connect the tips of the triangles together with other triangles on your paper. So again, it's just tips of the triangle to other triangle pieces. Now, look for any areas that are not triangles. Divide a line in half, and then voila! You'll find some more triangles. It's super cool. Lastly, use your white oil pastel to make stripes inside some, not all, of the triangles that you just created. This gives our background a really cool dimensional look. Okay, so once our background is done, let's move into the animal. My second piece of paper is red because it's complementary of green. I'm going to go ahead and pick out the animal that I choose to do. Following the steps on the drawing guide, please draw lightly until you've got it right. Once you've drawn it lightly in pencil, we'll then go into drawing out and making the brown pieces or the brown highlights of your project. This is usually on step 4 or 5 on your drawing guide. On that half sheet of paper, I want you to notice how I'm lining up the paper for what body part that it goes to so that it fits when I cut it out. I slowed the video down just so that this step totally makes sense. You can see how the brown follows the curve line of the animal's head. I'm going to outline with mine in black Sharpie just so that you can see that better. Now that you can see where I've drawn my line, you can also see how that piece of brown paper will fit nicely into the spot that's already pre-drawn for its head. I'll go ahead and trim off the leftover brown paper that I do not need, and then lastly glue that in place. Okay, as you're using your glue bottles today, don't lose the lid, hang on to that because otherwise the glue will dry out. So you want to have that nearby, and then notice how I flip it over because I want to make sure that that glue is adhered to the paper really well. You'll notice that I just went ahead and I put my glue lid back together even while I'm drawing my next piece because I really don't want that glue to dry out. Now let's go ahead into the other pieces of the body. Again, placing it where I'm going to want to glue it so it's not too tall for the head, but instead placing it in a spot where I want to glue it. And again, grabbing my glue stick and sticking that in place. Notice a good, firm rub on the back of the construction paper to ensure that it will stay nicely. You'll also notice how I'm lining up the paper to the edge of the body. That's where I'm going to have the tail coming out from the side of the animal. Just worked out really nice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, and then I was thinking for that last piece of construction paper, the feet for my animal. Again, all of these ideas were found on the idea sheet, and it just helped me get a good guide on where I wanted to place all of my pieces. Once I've gotten that in place, you could see how I creased the glue so that it ensured a good, solid fit. Notice how I'm marking out the construction paper so I know how wide to make the feet for my animal. Again, I'll darken that with black Sharpie so that you can see. And I'll again start to cut that out and glue that in place. And for the last part of our project, I love this part because it takes my ordinary project and it really makes it more 3D and gives it more life. So I was thinking about using a little white oil pastel for highlights, black oil pastel. Even though everything's outlined with a Sharpie, I feel like outlining it in black really makes things stand out brighter. Your oil pastel is more rich with color, so I'm going to go over, add a little bit of shadow for my project, using some neutral colored oil pastels, white to brighten areas up, black to darken areas in, and my grays and my browns will be areas that I can use to provide texture into my animal. Thinking about the direction of the line to make sense for the direction of the body that my animal is in. I love the way that this is starting to become more three-dimensional and much more interesting with the textural lines that I've created. Lastly, here's my black oil pastel, really making all of my areas defined and making my animal stand out and seem brighter, richer, fuller of color, and it just provides a great contour line of what I've drawn. Now that I'm done outlining in black, let's take a pair of scissors, cut that out, and we'll glue it together with my background construction paper.